This conference will now be
along with
recorded.
these, EMS services, fire departments. I'm sure the mine sites have a
For
couple of them.
ERT.
Yeah.
Requirement.
So anything like that, they're gonna make you do a handful of them. So this is all just, the biggest thing here is like the identification process, kind of knowing like a couple of different branches. And then,
You won't be hazmat certified after today.
no, that is a whole another 2-week long class if you want to do that. Sucks. Miserable.
2 weeks. You did
You
like
do
a
those
week.
two?
You did ops and awareness?
No.
No, technician. Hazmat.
Oh, yeah. So if you do ops, awareness, and tech, it's 3 weeks.
We did ours in 4 days, dude.
Was ours in 4 days?
Yeah, because
But it was long, 4 days.
Yeah, if you do it like 8 hours a day, it's like 5 days. Ops and awareness are like a week a piece, and then tech is like another week. So I did ops and awareness when I was with the fire department. So, all right, the definition of a hazard material: any substance or material in a form which poses an unreasonable risk to health, safety, and property when transport in commerce. This is the definition given to by DOT. DOT is kind of the regulating body of most of this stuff. So there's different levels, hazmat, awareness, ops, generally kind of intertwined together. So if you do like the awareness, if you're with the fire department, they'll do like awareness and ops together. The only difference is one of them is like book stuff and one of them is like hands-on where you learn how to like freaking throw dirt on stuff. Really dumb. Technician is like the more advanced one, and then specialist is where you kind of dive off into like certain chemicals, so you can get like specialized in like cyanide, chlorine, like different ones. They kind of have like specialty classes for it. So, so what are your responsibilities on the ambulance? Your responsibilities are don't touch it. That's kind of your golden rule. They use the rule of thumb. If I can cover up the incident with my thumb, then I'm far enough away from it. We are not hazmat trained. We are not hazmat equipped. If we have a hazardous incident in like Battle Mountain or the surrounding area, we're calling either the mine hazmat team or we're calling Elko County's hazmat team. Those are the closest ones. Hopefully Phoenix will bring their folks out if it's somewhere on this side, and if it's out near Valmy, like we did the big hazmat, like mass casualty thing a handful of months ago, right there off the Valmy exit, and Marigold sent their folks down there. So for you on the ambulance, the biggest thing is know if you can cover up with your thumb, you're far enough away from it. We showed the video of the cop that like runs up into the middle of all the gas and just freaking hits the whole fainting goat. You don't want to be that guy. Yeah. So all patients leaving the scene of a hazmat should be considered contaminated until proven otherwise. So if you're involved in some sort of hazardous material spill, especially being out here working closely with the mines, anybody that is coming from that scene should be decontaminated or treated as they are contaminated until they've been decontaminated or proven to not be contaminated. So the biggest thing here is controlling your scenes, not letting anybody leave, and then identifying what that contamination is going to be. So out here, like most commonly, it's going to be like probably like cyanide. What's the other big one they have at the mine that melts down all the rocks?
Lime?
Acid.
Huh?
Acid.
Yeah, like
Or caustic.
yeah, stuff like that.
Caustic's pretty bad.
So that's going to be like your most common one. With us being right here on the interstate, there's always trucks up and down, up and down, up and down. They're always full of hazmat. Like that incident the other day out there in Valmy, that truck had big placards all over the side of it, and not a single goddamn person warned anybody until we all got there and was like, oh, there's placards all over this truck. Luckily, they were just flammable placards, so worst case, the fire retardant catches on fire.
That freaking the tow truck that got cut in half. There was a skull and crossbones one that was like folded, and I was like, hey guys, I was like, what is this? Like, oh no, that was just. I was like, no. I was like, yeah.
Also remember, like, people know what they're hauling, So if you just don't see placards or anything, you might be in a situation like the driver's walking around, and just be like, what were you hauling? They know what's in there.
They're supposed to know.
He spoke English, just really.
Yeah, they're supposed to know what they're hauling. As somebody that drove trucks for 5 years, you're supposed to know what you're hauling, or you should know what you're hauling. A lot of people don't pay attention, especially if you're dealing with like any sort of placarded load. You should definitely know what you're hauling, but just keep that in mind. So these are going to be your different zones. These zones can kind of change and skew depending on the incident. So these zones can be like perfect little circles, or if you have an incident where it's like chlorine and it's like moving, these zones can kind of like turn into like an oval shape, stuff like that. So keep that in mind. So your hot zone is kind of like your contamination zone. That's where everything, everybody in that zone needs to be considered contaminated. Do not go within that zone unless you have appropriate closed systems. You'll see the people in the big like freaking astronaut suits walking around with like the internal breathing apparatuses and all that stuff. Those are the ones that's going to be in there. You one of those people? Nerd. So those outfits are freaking terrible. You sweat really bad. So limit your personnel inside there, because the more people you put in there, the more people you have to contaminate coming out. So your warm zone is going to be your like decon corridor, and that is only going to be life-threatening emergencies. Like you're going to deal with that there. So if you have somebody that's got some sort of like life-threatening bleed or anything, that's going to be your point to deal with that. Outside of that, you're not really going to do a lot of patient care inside this zone. If you're on the ambulance, you're not going to be in this zone. So you're going to be all the way back here in this green zone. So this is going to be like your medical monitoring, your rehab, the people that are in and outside of this incident. This is going to be where they're doing rehab. And it's going to be like your staging area for any responders, whether it be PD, fire, EMS, whoever that is not directly associated with going into the hot zones. They're going to be way back here in the back. And though this does look like a tiny little area, and you're like, oh, everybody should fit in this little, these zones should be like big. Like typically your cold zone is going to be like probably a half of a mile or better away from everything else. So consider that. There's going to be a pretty big gap between this hot zone and these cold zone, especially depending on what kind of chemical it is. If the chemical density allows it to like move through the air a lot easier, then this hot zone just grows bigger and your cold zone should be further away. So a couple of ways to identify hazardous materials. So if you've never seen one of these beautiful little ERG books right here, they're fantastic. Now you can get them on your phone. So you can download the little app. You can type in whatever chemical numbers on the side of that placard, and it'll give you all the information you need to know on it. Bill lading, if the truck driver, so in a hazardous incident, when the truck driver leaves that truck, he's supposed to bring his bill of lading with him so that people know. Is that always going to happen? No. So having the ability to pull up that ERG book is pretty important. Shipping manifest for trains, you'll see that again, the difference between a bill of lading and a shipping manifest. Just know that the bill of lading's for trucks and the shipping manifests are for like trains. And I think that boats also are shipping manifests. But and then these two right here are like call numbers. So the Chemical Transport Emergency Center, like Chemtrec, and then Chemtel, those are both numbers that you can call, and they can answer most information that, or most questions that you have about any sort of hazmat incident. You give them the placard number, and they can kind of tell you like how big of a zone you want to establish. Why? They can kind of give you an idea what you're dealing with, how deadly it is, what it reacts with, because like there's certain chemicals that like if the fire department gets there and puts water on it, it makes it worse. Right? Like depending on you know, what chemical it is, or they can give you all that information. So it is a state requirement that we have these ERG books in our trucks, and they update every 4 years. So there will be a new edition every 4 years for this book. So, and we're, per the state, we have to have the newest edition in our trucks at all times. So.
I think that's a federal.
It probably is for any kind of like commercial.
I had to carry one in my semi truck if it was even a year out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get a ticket.
Yeah, I think for any like state,
You know,
federal emergency responder, they all have to carry them. And then trucks, I had to carry one on my semi truck too. So, all right. So, when it comes to phases of a decontamination, you have like your initial phase or like your gross decontamination. This is where you're going to get like the majority of whatever contaminant that is. Refer back to your ERG book, because like some contaminants you sit there and like wash off. They have like these big shower setups and a little pool they put you in. Some contaminants they put you in the pool and you got to sit there in the shower for a few minutes. And then some contaminants you have to get like wiped off because they react to water, like lime reacts to water, and so it'll burn the piss out of you if you freaking squirt a bunch of water on somebody that has lime all over them. So you want to like brush that off. So, and then your secondary decon is like a more thorough decon, and it's going to try to hit like the more in depth. You're going to be naked. Everybody's going to see your junk, and you're going to get a good, nice scrub down. So it's a good time. It's lots of fun. So also keep in mind that most flight companies aren't going to come pick these people up. If they've been if they've been contaminated with any sort of like gross chemical, they're not going to pick them up, because the cost for them to decontaminate their helicopter is something like $20,000 or $30,000. They have to put it out of service. And so most flight companies won't come pick these patients up. So keep that in mind. If we do ever run into this out here, which I'm sure we will, it's not a matter of when, or not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Chances are your flight companies are going to come out here and pick these like heavily contaminated patients up. So these are going to be the colors of your placards. So as you can see, like red is like a fire hazard. It's like light blue color. It's like a health hazard. These are like unstable. And then these are like very specific. They're like acid. You'll see like the little white ones with like the fish on them and stuff like that. They're like specific hazards to whatever it reacts to. So it's not super important, other than kind of knowing like kind of the main point here, like the fire hazard, the health hazard. That's the ones that I've seen like tested on the most, is those two. I haven't really seen the yellow one or the white one tested on a lot. But yeah. So, and then they break them down into classes. So like this one's corrosive. So everyone has a class 1 through 9. You don't need to know every one of these. This is for if you ever go to like some sort of hazmat ops and awareness, they test on this. But for your purposes, just kind of having a visualization of what these look like is always good, because if you ever encounter one of these, like that one the other day, have one of these class 3 flammable placards all over it. So just keep that in mind. If you see it, it's good to kind of have an idea of what you're dealing with, because like if you ever see like this one and you got a big old semi truck, the radioactive one, you got a big old semi truck rolling over, it's got radioactive placards all over, it's probably not going to be a fun day. Same thing with like this toxic, the class 6 inhalation hazard one. You got one of those flipped over on the interstate, probably not going to be a fun day. And if it's one of these class 1 ones, hopefully it already explodes before you get there, and then it's not a problem no more. So, an MCI in and of itself has no other classification other than it is an event that places greater demand on a EMS system. So basically all that means is right now we have one ambulance out here that is staffed 24/7, 365 days a year. With that one ambulance, if I have 5 patients and 3 of them are critical, that is now considered a mass casualty incident because it is more than what our system can handle. So that's all it is. So there's no specific number. It is just whatever that EMS system that you're working in. It's just whatever overwhelms that system. So it can be 5 patients, it can be 25 patients, right? Just depends on where you work at. The biggest thing to note about mass casualty incidents is nothing is going to go the way that you think it's going to go. So if you look at all the mass casualty incidents that's happened over the last handful of years, most notable to this area is the Vegas shooting, right? So when the Vegas shootings happened, they started getting 911 calls. So in the Las Vegas metro area, they probably have about 40 ambulances between like Vegas, North Vegas, community ambulance, like all those different agencies that kind of work in that rural or that metro Vegas area. They probably carry about 40 ambulances in those services. So when they get that 911 call, there's probably only going to be a handful of those ambulances that are actually available to respond. Because we know in Vegas, everybody calls 911 because their freaking foot hurts. So out of 40 ambulances, you might have 5 of those ambulances available. And that's if you're lucky, right? So the first thing that's going to happen is your dispatch center is going to get overwhelmed really, really fast. So our dispatch center, if you didn't know, what is that?
Technology. Sorry, my bad.
It's a CJ thing. Like it. So if you didn't know, our dispatch center has 1 person staffed in there, right? On a good day, they have 2 people in there, and that's during the day. At night, it drops back to 1. So if we ever were to, let's say, have a shooting at our school, you're going to have about 30 people that call 911 at the same time. You're going to have 2 dispatchers if you're lucky. And then those 2 dispatchers are going to call their supervisors and be like, we have an MCI at the school. I need hands in here, or I need hands over here. So even if they can get 1 or 2 more hands, they have 30 people calling 911 and they only have like 3 telephones. So automatically that system's going to be overwhelmed. So when that system starts getting overwhelmed, they're going to get numbers. You're going to have somebody call 911 and say, oh, I got 6 people shot in this classroom. Somebody else is going to call 911 and be like, oh, I got 10 people shot in the cafeteria. Somebody else is going to call 911 and be like, oh, there's only 2 people shot. So they're never going to know exactly how many people are down, right? So they're just going to be kind of getting bombarded with a bunch of stuff. So then they're going to dispatch resources. So on a good day, if all of our sheriff's department administration happens to be at work that day, probably not, but if they are, you're going to have the sheriff, the undersheriff, the sergeant, that shift's corporal, a deputy. If they're lucky, they got an Austin deputy, and then they have a couple of people in the jail. 1 might be able to come out. So you're going to have probably 6 or 7 folks that can come out to play, right? So we're going to send out a big old text message in EMS that says, hey guys, we have a mass casualty. We need hands. We have 3 ambulances out here sitting right now, fully stocked and ready to go. Right? So you have 7 deputies, you have 2 dispatchers, and you have 3 ambulances. If I have 15 people shot, all the deputies are going to be wrapped up trying to find whoever was shooting and dealing with that bull crap. We're going to get there in the area, and then we're going to go in and start trying to grab folks. This hospital over here has 5 ER beds, 5 med-surg beds, ish, depending on what day. Like right now, they have 2 patients back there. So,
And we're like half of them.
yeah.
We got a variance from the state size.
Yeah. They have 1 doctor, 2 nurses. They could pull their nurse from the long-term care back there, so that gives them 3 nurses plus a couple of individuals back in the clinic, which are like nurse practitioners. So you're probably going to have like 7 providers in the ER. But you can see if we get 15 people in one incident, we're screwed, right? So that's what happened in Vegas. So you get 50 people, because they're at a concert venue of 1,000 people, you get 50 people calling 911 at the same time, right? That system gets overwhelmed really quick, even in that area, right? Because you got other people across the city also using that service. So what ends up happening is you get a bunch of people that get thrown in pickup trucks and cars. Like people are showing up to the ER like 4 or 5 deep in the bed of pickup trucks, getting thrown out of the back of them. Like people are back and forth, back and forth. The first thing they did was criticize all the first responders. So they were like, nobody showed up. Nobody was here. Well, the ambulance was staged down the road because they didn't know where the shooter was. They're still trying to find the shooter, right? Doesn't really make any sense for the ambulance to go in there and also get shot, right? So the ambulance is staged down the road. So now all these people are showing up to the ER in pickup trucks, right? Well, there's still a good chunk of folks laying out there on the asphalt trying to figure out what the frick's going on, and you still got people popping shots, right? So the first thing they got criticized was the first responders, because they're like, well, the PD showed up. They didn't neutralize the shooter. Well, that bastard was on like the 20th floor. They can't just like click their heels 3 times and pop up there, right? They didn't even know where they were coming from. At first, they thought he was in the venue, and then they thought he was on the corner of the hotel, and then they finally pinned him on the hotel, and it was like, oh, he's up there in the window, and they finally made their way up there. Well, at that point, you're 20 minutes into this incident, he's done unloaded a couple hundred rounds into this crowd, right? So now the scene is secured, and now EMS can come in. Well, EMS also still has other 911 calls that they're dealing with, right? So now they have 30 patients on the ground. They have 5 ambulances available. What are they supposed to do, right? So the system understands that when you're dealing with these mass casualties, don't expect this to go the way that you want it to go. It's not going to. People are going to pop up from all around the corner. The incident that me and Becca had, we had 9 people shot at our club in Atlanta. We were the first ones there. We were met immediately with hostility because the PD down there didn't secure the scene appropriately. So as soon as we pulled up, Becca started getting cussed out because she wasn't moving fast enough. We literally pulled up. I didn't even get the trucking part. She started getting cussed out. So she gets out of the ambulance to do CPR on a girl. Well, this is a mass casualty. We don't do CPR on mass casualties, right? But you don't have a choice because PD didn't secure the scene. So if we don't do CPR on this girl, and now we're involved in this. So Becca does CPR. I'm running around trying to get a head count of how many people are left. When I think I have all that people, some guy comes walking out from behind the freaking Dollar General that was around the corner that was shot in the leg. I was there for almost 10 minutes before he popped up, right? So people are going to come out from everywhere. So these are not going to go the way that you think they're going to go. So having disaster plans work great. Make them appropriate for the location, right? Like we don't really need like a hurricane disaster plan out here. I don't think we're catching no freaking Hurricane Irmas anytime soon. But having wildfire plans or even like earthquake plans are fantastic out here. Being out at the mine, same thing. Having these disaster plans for if this happens, have them on paper, have them written, have them practiced. We do rehearsals around here. Like the first year that I was here, we did like a big train accident out here by the Flying J. This year we did the big hazmat incident out there in Valmy. I was actually the incident commander for Lander County for that incident, like the EMS commander for our group. but it needs to be rehearsed. You need to practice on this. No matter how much rehearsal or practice you do, it's not going to go the way that you think it's going to go. I can promise you. And then public relations is big when it comes to this stuff. Having some sort of public emergency notification system works great. So if we have like a major wildfire that's moving towards town, sending out public notifications of like, hey, people, don't go to the desert right now because the whole goddamn desert's on fire. Like, it's moving towards town. It's coming in from Argenta towards Hilltop. Maybe start heading towards Winnemucca, whatever that looks like. Having some sort of like public addressing or having that ability to let the public know is also a really, really good idea. So this is what your typical ICS command system, incident command system will look like. So after 9/11, the federal government come in and was like, this was a freaking disaster, because when 9/11 happened, nobody had a true incident command system except for one department, and that was the federal firefighters, like BLM, U.S. Forest Service. They're the only ones that had a true incident command system like this. So what the federal government did was they brought in all these like expert incident command guys from like the federal fire side, and was like, how do y'all do this? Like, how can we make this better? And so they have adopted this incident command system, and it works really good. On big incidents, this is what you'll see if you've ever been on wildfire. Like, I worked for the Georgia Forestry Commission for a little bit. Billy's worked for BLM. He can tell you this is the way their incident command system is laid out. So you have like your incident commander for whatever incident that is, and then it branches down. You have like your command staff, and then you have all your generalized staff, like your finance, logistics, planning, operations. Out here, typically, the incident command system needs some fine tuning. I think there's a lot of interagency beefs that need to be worked out. But when you're dealing with Valmy, Eureka County, Battle Mountain Fire, sheriff's departments from each county, EMS from different counties, like having a incident command person that knows where everybody is, what all is going on all over the place is really, really good to have. So when they did the disaster day up in Elko a few weeks ago, this is what they had. They had a single person, it was Kirby, that worked for Elko County EMS. He was the incident commander for both scenes. So we had a heat stroke related illness that had like 10 patients, something like that, 15. And then we had a car wreck that had another like 12 to 15 patients. Kirby was the single incident commander. You had secondary incident commanders for each section, but all of them funneled back to Kirby. So Kirby was just the top person that his job was to deal with the hospital and let people know where they were going, and to keep a head count of who all was left and where they needed to go. That's his job. His job is not to walk up and put tourniquets on people. His job is not to put fires out. His job is to stand there with a clipboard, make sure he knows where everybody is, make sure he knows where everybody's going, and make sure that wherever they're going, they have a head count so that they can know what's incoming. So we need to work on that out here. I don't think that we don't need planning chiefs and logistic people and all that stuff, but having a unified incident commander and trying to figure out who that is, it takes training and it takes work, but it works really well when done appropriately. It eliminates a lot of the confusion. So your commander, typically it's going to be assumed by the highest, most experienced person on that scene. That doesn't always mean it's going to be the chief. right? Like if we're going out to an incident where we have multiple people shot, Mikey will tell you, that's not my thing. That's going to be a you and Becca thing, right? So use your resources, know what people are good at, right? So if we have 10 people shot down here, Mike's already said, like, I'm going to let y'all be incident commander because y'all have been involved in these shootings before. So just because the highest person, the person in charge, may not be the incident commander for that incident, find somebody that is good at dealing with these things and put them in charge. And then if you ever need to transfer that command, it needs to be a face-to-face verbal transfer. People like to get on the radios and do this bull crap. Don't do that. Things get lost in translation. Radios break up. Half the things are said, half the things aren't heard. So it needs to be face-to-face. This is what I have. This is what I've done. This is what's left. Your turn, right? So when you first arrive on scene, your first arriving unit should give a scene size up for what's going on so that everybody coming in knows what's going on. This is very, very important for any sort of mass casualty, any fire that we're on, stuff like this. I don't know. This is like these scene size ups are really good information. Like if I roll up to a multi-car accident and I'm like, hey, I got 3 cars upside down, multiple people out in the roadway ejected from their vehicles, I'm just letting the people behind me know what to expect when they get here, right? So let people know before they get there so that they can be prepared. When it comes to communications, they should be, the incident commander should be the only person talking to dispatch. When you're dealing with mass casualty incidents, a lot of the bull crap's going to get cut out. So we prioritize paperwork in every other incident except for this. So for mass casualty incidents, like you're en route to the hospital, on scene at the hospital, in service, en route to the call, en route to, none of that matters, right? So all you're going to be doing is picking up patients and moving them. So you don't need to be on the radio telling people every time you go to the hospital. Cut a bunch of that bull crap out. The system's already overwhelmed, so they don't care. We can figure out the times and stuff later on. And then when these incidents start, you need to think big and order big. So for instance, for us, we have, like I said, 3 ambulances out here. If we can get people in those ambulances, we have 3 ambulances fully stocked and ready to go. Our next closest resource isn't even in this county, it's Crescent Valley, which is MedX now. So MedX is going to be about 40 minutes from us. After that, our next closest resource is Humboldt County and one of their ambulances. And then after that, it's the Alston ambulance. So our next closest resource isn't even in this county. It is in the adjoining counties, right? So order big, right? If we ever have one of these incidents, when you call MedX or Reach, they call it like an MCI button. When you call the dispatch and say, hey, I have an MCI, potential 20 patients, I need all available resources, they hit a button on their screen and it turns everything in their comm center like red or whatever, and it flashes and it's like MCI, Lander County. And they start dispatching resources. So they're going to dispatch Elko County, Ely, Reno. They're going to start sending out resources and they're going to have every available aircraft they have headed this way. Again, that can be taxing on the system because now you have 6 or 8 air resources all coming to the same airport, right? Because I can't put 6 helicopters back here. They're all going out to the airport, right? But it's better to order more than what you need and then cancel folks as you go. Because until we actually get there and start triaging folks, we're not going to know how many people are there. So manage and prioritize your patients. Prioritize your patients. So We're going to talk about today the different triage colors. So you have like green, yellow, red, black. Not every red is the same shade of red. So I'll talk about that in a minute, but just keep that in mind. Prioritizing who you're transporting is crucial in these incidents. So your goal for triage, you're going to afford the greatest number of people the greatest chance of survival. You're going to lose people. People are going to die. It sucks. I'm sorry. It's just what it is, right? One of the worst things in the world, if you've never experienced it, is somebody talking to you that dies. It really sucks, right? One of your classmates can probably attest to this. It's not fun when you have somebody that's like talking to you, everything's going good, and then they die on you, right? But that's going to happen in these incidents. So understand that when you're dealing with these people, you are trying to prioritize the people that have the greatest chance of survival. Does that mean that somebody that's still alive might not get put off of that scene first? Like, yes. Because if we are limited on how many resources we have, I'm going to get the sickest patients that I think have the greatest chance of survival out of here first. And then we're going to prioritize the rest as we go. So have your most knowledgeable providers be your triage supervisor. That's kind of hard because until you've been put in one of these incidents, you don't really know how people are going to react. But you want to take your senior people and try to put them in charge of this because, like I said, not all red patients are going to be the same shade of red. So knowing what to prioritize and what not is very, very important. So your primary triage. So this is one of the triage systems that you see. So like priority 1 is treatable, life-threatening injuries or illness. Priority 2 are serious, but they're not as life-threatening. And then priority 3 are the walking wounded. And then priority 4 are dead. On the same side, this is what that looks like. So we carry these tags right here. Show these down.
Can you go back while you, please? Thank you.
So we carry these tags. If you've never seen triage tags before, this is what they look like. So when you're dealing with these mass casualty incidents, the only thing that I care about on this thing is the tag number. That's how I'm going to identify patients. I don't care about their name. I don't care about their birthday. I don't care where they live. I don't care about their past medical history. The only thing I care about is this number right here, because that's how we're going to track these patients. So when you walk up, you're going to give them a classification, whether it's green, yellow, red, or black. And then you're going to keep this number right here. These little numbers tear off. So you can keep one of those, stick it in your pocket. That way you have it for later on. You good, Amy?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So there's a handful of different triage methods that people have used or can use. So like I said, we have the triage tags on the far right. We also carry some of this triage tape right here on the top. And then I just recently saw, I want to say it was California. They had like somebody drive through a crowd of people, and the fire department was using these triage blankets, and they're basically just like big tarps that they lay down on the ground and move their patients to. The easiest way to do this triage system, does anybody know the first thing that you do when you walk up on scene to a mass casualty?
Call out, scene safe.
Well, yeah. When you're getting ready to triage your patients after the scene safe and PSI level.
Call out and have them walk to you.
Anybody that can walk to me, come over here. When you do that, don't have some ding ding on the other side of the parking lot. Go, anybody that can walk to me, come over here. Because that's exactly what happened with disaster day. you had one person over here going, anybody that can walk, come over here. And they all walked over there. And then somebody on the other side of the parking lot said, anybody that can walk, come over here. And they turned around like a bunch of sheep and walked back the other way. So keep that in mind. Have somebody doing this and know who's doing this, right? I don't care if your freaking arm's broke. I don't care if your teeth are broke, if you got a lack across your head. If you can stand up, even if you got shot in your leg and bleeding is controlled, if you can walk over there, you are going to be green tagged. So, walking wounded. So, delayed is anybody that can't walk, basically. So that's going to be your yellow. So if they have like major broken bones and stuff, those are going to be considered like your yellow patients, is basically anybody that can't walk. And then your red. So for red, we're going to use this acronym up here. And the best way to do this is anybody that can't walk and anybody that doesn't fit this criteria gets yellow or black, obviously. But so
Also, in the city of Atlanta, don't just be like, you're black, because you will be yelled at.
yeah, they're like, what?
You're not treating people black.
Yeah.
We made this guy just Sean a black patient at our work.
Yeah.
It was
They're
awesome.
like, you have to say black cat.
Yeah. So we use the same 32 can do. So if the respiratory rate is over 30, this says no pulse. If their cap refill is greater than 2 seconds, because what does that mean? Their circulation.
That's not super reliable in adults though. So we would say at 32 can do, and the 2 is capillary refill, but you should be thinking radial
pulse. So you want to check their circulatory system, right? So if their respiratory rate is greater than 30, if their circulation is impaired, right? If they're in like a shocky state, and then can they follow commands? If they check the box of any of these, they're red. They don't have to check the box of all of them. If they check the box of any of them, at that point, they're red. So, what does that mean? So if I walk up and I have somebody freaking out, hyperventilating, they have a broke leg so they can't walk. They're freaking out, hyperventilating, they have a respiratory rate of 35, they are technically considered a red. Now, if I have somebody else that has a GCS of 8 with absent radial pulses, they are also considered a red. Which one is more important? Radial pulses. So keep that in mind. That's what I mean by which red is the most red, right? If I have somebody that has they're confused, they got hit in the head, or during the incident, right, there's like a mass casualty shooting, during the incident, they were running, tripped, fell, bonked their head, and now they're a little confused, they are a red. If they cannot follow your commands, they are a red. They can have a GCS of 14 and still follow your commands, but if they cannot follow your commands, they are red. This guy over here is unresponsive and has no radial pulses. He's still more red, right? So like keep that in mind. You gotta kind of pick through some of the bull crap and figure out who you're going to get out of there first. So start triage. So this is what it stands for: simple triage and rapid treatment. So you're going to give simple commands to patients, and then you're going to evaluate them based off of their respirations, pulse, and mental status. That's all it is. 32 can do. If they can walk to you, they're green. If they fit any of the criteria of 32 can do, they're red. Everybody else is yellow or black. Cool.
And remember, like a black tag is like if they're laying there and you open their airway and they're not breathing, but when you open their airway, they start breathing in, they're still like considered black. But this is why they should be, I wish that they had another category. I wish they had a gray category, like expectant, but not dead. So, because you can go and they're not breathing and you open their airway and they start breathing again, you're not gonna sit there for the next 30 minutes and hold their airway because there's other people to be triaged. So that should be an expectant category. At that point, what you should do is roll them into like a recovery position to keep their airway open and then move on to the next person, and then you can mark them red. So if you have to close their airway and they continue not breathing, they're still black criteria. But if you roll them, they're now red because they're breathing. That makes sense.
I was gonna ask, if they're breathing, don't they come to red?
Yeah, but if I like wasn't sitting there holding them and stopped and they're now zero, breathing zero,
Oh,
then they're still a black. So that's why I want to open their airway and
So-
move them on to mark them as red. Because if they are breathing while their airway's open, then they're red. But if you don't like open it, oh, they're breathing, and then close your airway and walk away, now they're black. Does that make sense?
You get one attempt at this. If you reposition their airway and they're still not breathing, they're black. Move on. We don't do CPR on mass casualty incidents, right? Like I'm not out here trying to work cardiac arrest in the middle of 20 people shot. Just what it is.
What about OPAs and NPAs?
So for the purposes of like these mass casualty incidents, you can insert OPAs and NPAs. Typically, tourniquets, OPAs, NPAs, because what you got to think too is like every category that you use can be reevaluated and changed. So if you're shot in the leg and you're femoral artery, you have altered mental status and an absent radial pulse. I put a tourniquet on your leg, well, you're red tagged. Well, I put that tourniquet on your leg, and now you're completely with it. You have a GCS 15, and your pulses are back. And now you get moved down the list, right? So like every one of your patients that you triage needs to be reevaluated throughout this incident. So you can reposition their airways, stick OPAs and NPAs in them, try to open up their airway to give them and that's one of those cases, right? Like, am I going to have somebody just sit there for 45 minutes and hold somebody's airway open?
OPAs to carry,
Right.
Like we have them in this bag. If I have 15 patients and 6 of them need an OPA, these OPAs, I have probably 3, maybe 4 that I could fit in most people. But like this one's not gonna hold an airway open. This one's not gonna hold an airway open on an adult. So like you're also limited for what you got. Yes, you can use OPAs and NPAs, but also know you're kind of limited in what supplies you're gonna be carrying.
Right.
too.
So that's where like the clinical expected comes in, right? Like if I move somebody's airway or reposition their airway and they start breathing, I can stick an OPA in them real quick and then keep it moving. Or stick an NPA in them and then keep them. I'm not going to sit there for 45 minutes. You can put, pad their head to try to keep their airway open and stick an OPA or NPA in there. But you need to keep it moving because if I'm dealing with 20 folks, I'm not going to sit here for 45 minutes holding somebody's head. That's part of the decision making that goes into this.
So, sorry, don't mean
No,
to
you're
keep
good.
interrupting. So, when you do the OPAs, NPAs, and tourniquets, is that when you're first on the patient? Like, oh, they're bleeding bad now, you throw it on
Yeah.
there, and then you
Yeah.
just keep moving, that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
your initial triage, really the only thing that you should be carrying, the first on scene, you're like the triage person, you should be carrying tourniquets and simple airways is what you should be carrying.
Immediate
Maybe
life
chest
threats.
seals, maybe chest seals if you have them, but.
Chest
seals. Occlusive dressing. A lot of times, like in any TECC class that you take, it's tourniquets, OPAs, NPAs, and chest seals. And that's your initial triage. Like you need a tourniquet, you need a chest seal, you need your airway open, and that's all you're doing. You're triaging and doing those 3
Bless you.
things. Thanks. Now you know.
What 3 things did she say? What 3 things did she say?
It's gone.
Chest seals?
But like
Chest seals was the third?
IVs, any kind of advanced airway, any other kind of like bleeding control that's not a tourniquet, like if they're slowly bleeding, you're not gonna even worry about any of that. That all comes later.
Immediate life threats, right? So it's just like in the hazmat incident, you're not treating people on the hot zone. You're treating people in the warm zones with immediate life threats until you can get them evacuated. That's all you're doing. And so the big difference is, so So the big difference is when you deep dive into these mass casualty incidents. So this is where the contamination happened in hazmat zones. This is where there's still an active threat in mass casualty incidents. So if you're dealing with an active shooter in these active threat spots, you're not doing much of anything, right? You want them out here to treat immediate life threats, and then everything else happens in the cold zones. So they call this, if you do like TECC classes and stuff like this, they call this getting off the X. And so the X is basically where this shooter is. So if the shooter is in this building and they're down this hallway, I'm not gonna sit over here and like stick a tourniquet on somebody real quick and like, hopefully you don't come around that corner real quick. I'm moving, right? And you're trying to get out of that zone before you start doing stuff. So TECC is a really, really cool class. We teach it too. So once you're done with all this, if anybody wants to take that, it's a pretty fun class. So start triage. So this is pretty much the algorithm that you run down. If you work in algorithms, this is how Becca's mind works. My mind doesn't work like this. There's too many goddamn boxes and letters and numbers and stuff like that for me. But respirations, yes. Are they under 30 or over 30? If they're over 30, red, done, right? If they're not breathing, we get an attempt to reposition their airway. If there's still no respirations, they're black tagged. If they start breathing, they get red tagged, right? So you move to your perfusion, radials, cap refill. So they look at those, right? Is the pulse present? So right here, if they can follow simple commands, they're delayed. If they can't, they're red. And then if they have a radiant or absent radial pulse, you can try to control their bleeding, but they're going to go to red. And all walking wounded go to green. So the easiest way to remember this, again, if they walk to you, they're green. If they fit the 32 can't or 32 can do category, any of these, they're red. Everything else goes yellow or black if they're dead. So I know it sounds like a lot. We're going to do that here. One of the weekends before we get out of class, we're going to do a big mass casualty, and we'll kind of show you how this is supposed to kind of unfold. It sounds very confusing when you see it like this. It's really not that hard. The biggest thing with mass casualties is evaluate and reevaluate, because the yellow can go to red. Red can come back to yellow, vice versa, right? So any of these, yeah, greens can do the same thing. If you're walking up to me, I get there, you walk up to me and everything's going all hunky-dory, or you have a major head injury and then 10 minutes later you're unresponsive on the floor, right? So keep that in mind. All of these are subject to change. So secondary triage, like we said, you want to have like a collection point for everybody or like a triage point. Try to categorize everybody based off of what you have placed them. So have the greens in one area, yellows in one area, reds in one area. And then if anybody changes, you need to swap their areas around. But please have somebody re-triage. My going theory is if Becca triages initially, she's not going to do the secondary triage. I'm going to do a secondary triage, right? The reason why is because in the midst of everything going on, just like in the back of the ambulance, right? Like we don't depend solely on ourselves in the back of the truck. Why are we dependent on one person in these incidents, right? If I go to give somebody a medication like rocuronium, I'm like, hey, babe, I'm giving them 100 milligrams of rock. I've got, you know, a milliliter of fluid in here, which is 100 milligrams. And she's like, yeah, 100 milligrams and 1 milliliter, you're good. Cool. I don't do it by myself. I double check with my partner. Same thing needs to happen on these incidents. If you do the triage first, let somebody else do the secondary triage. You might have missed something, something might have changed, but I don't want the same person going in there and be like, oh yeah, they're yellow, they're yellow, they're yellow. Yep, everything looks good. Well, now this yellow has turned to red, but you just kind of walked by and just looked at everybody real quick and didn't actually put your hands on them. Let somebody else do the secondary triage.
Also, the secondary triage, it says that it's at a patient collection point. Please make sure you're moving the patients. That is one thing we saw on disaster day. It was like they did that initial triage really, really well, but they left all of the patients right where they were. So it was hard to keep track of like, where are the yellows, where are the reds, you know? All the greens were in one spot, but then you have a red that's more red than these other reds, and they were the last ones to go. So as you're triaging, at that point, they need to get moved to like those blankets would be great, or you have a designated area that's like, these are the yellows, these are the blacks, or you need the blacks out there, these are the reds, these are the greens, you know?
So the perfect example is this guy. So of all 25 patients that was involved in the 2 incidents, he was probably the most critical one to be transported. So according to this incident, he was ejected out of a vehicle. He had head trauma. His blood pressure was low.
Beginning blood pressure is kind of normal.
Yeah, and then his blood pressure trended low, and then he had a GCS of an 8. So what happened was, and I was down there in his area, Becca was on the other side. I was down there in his area, so I watched it. They walked in. They got everybody laid out on the ground. So you had like 10 people laid out on the ground. He was triaged. Everybody was triaged. Well, the first thing that happened was he got triaged yellow. And I was like, interesting. So Marcus come around to re-triage everybody. Walked up to him and was like, hey man, did you be triaged? And he was like, yeah. They were like, Marcus was like, okay. He was like, what'd they triage you? He was like, yellow. And Marcus was like, what? And like pulled his card and was like, you're red. But Marcus re-triaged. Beautiful, right? They took all the other people that had a GCS of like 14 with some broken limbs and left him laying in the dirt the whole time. But finally, after 20 minutes of not a single person walking over there and putting a hand on him, I walked over there and I was like, hey man, what are you doing? And he's like, dead. I was like, how you doing? He was like, oh, I'm dead. He was like, why are you dead? He's like, I've literally been laying here and nobody's touched me. He was like, so I'm dead. I was like, well, who killed you? He was like, I killed myself. I was like, fair enough. But that's the way that's supposed to go, right? Because Jakey over here is altered and can't follow simple commands, but all his blood pressure and everything, his GCS is 14. He can't follow simple commands, but he got taken before the guy with a GCS of 8 and freaking absent radials because the blood pressure started tanking. Right? Doesn't really make any sense. So that's where the re-triage goes and continuous triage. If you have somebody walking around on these incidents, put hands on patients. Don't just walk around and look at people, right? I know it can be overwhelming, but you need to put hands on these people.
Part of that story too is whenever someone does a secondary triage, if you change somebody from a yellow to a red, you need to communicate that. That was the other problem, is that whenever I was re-triaged into a red, that was not communicated. So if there is a change in a patient, that change needs to be communicated.
Yeah.
So on the secondary triage, is that where you're kind of going through and sweeping and checking for life threats and stuff like that?
Well, so your primary triage, you want to walk through and like immediate life threats, right? So like immediate life threats should happen, right? I'm not going to splint your broken arm during primary triage, right? Your secondary triage should be where you go in and do a little sweep on them, see if there's anything like any broken arms that maybe you can have. Yeah, like you can probably split up your broken arm. You can, they got like a good cut right here that's kind of oozing blood. You can wrap it up, stuff like that.
On the extraction part, is it first triage and then after the secondary triage, you extract them, or do you immediately triage and you just pull them out as you go?
So you should be triaging as you're going through extracting, right? So like, we're not gonna go into a hot incident, right? So the way it's gonna typically work in this area is, let's say it's at the school. We're gonna be posted up probably somewhere in the area of the park or like Hideaway, waiting on them to say the scene is clear, they're neutralized, whatever, right? So the way it's gonna work here is once they say the scene's clear, it's neutralized. Let's say I'm the initial triage officer. I'm gonna start walking in with a group of people behind me. Becca, Marcus, Ursula, whoever. We're all gonna start walking in and I'm gonna walk up and go, yep, that one's a red. Yep, that one's a yellow. And I'm just moving. I have people behind me that's gonna be tossing tourniquets, doing stuff like that. I'm just moving and triaging. So that's my main job, is moving and triaging. Everybody behind me is gonna be doing like the initial like life-saving interventions. That's the way it should work. Yeah, and then moving patients as you can, right? If I've got 20 patients, I'm gonna do like an initial survey of all 20 of those patients to figure out who I need to move first. So if I've got 20 patients, I'm not gonna grab the guy with a broken leg just because he's the first one that I saw. I'm not gonna grab the guy with the broken leg and be like, all right, let's get out of here. I'm gonna find somebody that looks critical and I'm gonna move them out of the scene first and get them out. And then I'm gonna come back to the guy with the broken leg.
And then you're gonna take
Yeah.
and as they
Yeah.
That's what's trying,
go. And then someone else will also be coming through and doing it.
Yeah.
Your initial should just be a walkthrough, because you don't know what's coming up next, right? So you're like, okay, there's two reds in this room, there's a yellow over here, and a red in the hallway. There could be like 2 more reds down the hallway, but if you're working on getting these 2 out, and those 2 could use a tourniquet, but you don't want to miss that. So just walk through, tag, tourniquets, and basic things to get through your triage, and then from there, you're moving people out at their like priorities.
And then your secondary triage should be in your collection point outside, right? So your primary triage is gonna be wherever they lay. Your secondary triage is gonna be wherever you take them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So transportation and hospital communication. So again, we're gonna reevaluate, transport the people that are the sickest with the highest survivability first. You want to try to have some sort of like staging officer. So the way they broke it up in like Elko County was one of their battalion chiefs was out there in our incident, and he was the one communicating with the incident commander, like, hey, I've got 2 ambulances taking 4 patients to this location. And then the incident commander was like, 10-4, 2 ambulances, 4 patients to this location, right? So you're gonna have a person there coordinating where the ambulances are going. So if I have 1 ambulance, typically you're not gonna have people that are green tagged moved, but let's say for whatever reason, I have an ambulance that only has 1 person on it, and I don't have a second provider to be in the back of that truck. That's a perfect ambulance for like green patients, right? Because I can put Billy in the driver's seat of that truck. I could throw 5 green patients with Billy and tell him to drive over here to the ER, right? Like that's a consideration to have when we're dealing with an incident in like a town like this, right? So having somebody there that can coordinate, especially with the hospital, to let them know what all is coming to them is very, very important. Because, we're going to overwhelm the system. We're going to try to fly out as many as we can. But if I can only get 6 air resources down here and I have 15 patients, 9 of them still have to come to this ER until we can get more air resources to this area to fly out the rest of them, right? So communicating with the facility. For us, it's going to be 1 facility. When we had our incident in Atlanta, our supervisor called both trauma centers in the area and was like, hey, just so y'all know, we had, this many folks shot down here at this club. People are in cars. Be on the lookout because you might get hit with a handful of these. So that's part of it, right? Same thing over here. That should be done as well. Typically, if we get paged out to like an MCI, while we're on the way there, we're going to go ahead and call the hospital and be like, hey, we have an MCI. Y'all need to start your MCI protocol. We don't know how many patients we have. We're on the way there now. So they already have a heads up that people may be showing up in cars, because that's what a lot of these incidents turn into, is people just go into cars and show up at the ERs. Your radio reports to the ER should be very, very basic information. Do not drag these radio reports out. The system's already overwhelmed. Rescue 4, BMGH, I'm coming to you. 4 patients, 1 red, one red, altered mental status, 2 yellows, 1 green. I'll be there in 2 minutes. You don't need to give them a full set of vitals. You don't need to go through this whole big old spiel. Very basic information. Move it on. And then your paperwork comes at the end. Like I said, we're not trying to get patients' names, birthdays, their cousins, their sisters. I don't care about any of that. That's why these tags have numbers correlated with them, because I can put this number in and that associates them with that patient, right? What they doing? So that associates them with that patient, right? Ah, that was a lot. Any questions? Huh?
I was waiting to write something else on.
So,
You're done.
like I said, the most important part of this, hazmat, there's not a lot of information that you just need to be dead set on. Understanding what like your ERG book is, understanding that it's there as a guide, probably important. I've seen the bill of lading and shipping manifest on tests before, so knowing that, and then knowing the different zones as far as like a hot, warm, cold zone, know what goes on in those zones is important. Pretty much everybody's moved to like some sort of start triage system at this point. I don't know.
They use a salt triage, but it's like a weighting, so like they'll have you weigh.
Yeah.
But also know, like I remember on my national registry, if you are responding to a lightning strike incident, like they always give it at a golf course, there's a big lightning storm that happens, you have multiple people deceased, those get treated first. That is your one consideration when you're treating black tags first, because if someone gets struck by lightning, the chances of you getting them back from shocking them, defibrillation, early CPR is a lot higher than if they were shot and then died. So if it's a lightning, so the lightning, like the electricity from the lightning can cause cardiac dysrhythmias. And so they call it lightning triage is what it's called. But just know that that is backwards from what you would normally do.
When you're using these tags, do you rip the color off that they're like, if there's a black patient, you rip all 3 off?
Yeah, you don't,
And then
so
just
if they're
red, just-
like red,
You just rip the 2 off, or do you rip
rip the 2 off. So you want
the red? Okay.
Yeah. And then this is what doesn't make sense about those, is if they, what? I have some. But the thing that doesn't make sense is,
Oh, shit.
if they go to yellow at any point, you can't like put the yellow back on.
Fold it back. Set it down.
Yeah, you do it. Yeah, that's why I like these ones, right? Because they
I heard you were getting heated.
are a little bit different.
Dude, she's like, I thought she was yelling at me because of Clyde.
Whatever they
And I was like,
are.
why are you always picking on me? And
And
she was
stick
like,
it
oh.
back.
And I was like,
But then the thing I
"Gah!"
like about this
And then I
black
walked away.
tags are done.
And she's like, we're talking later. I was like, okay.
So,
We talked later. I was like, okay. Sorry.
You know what they're actually, have you guys seen the wristband thing?
Yeah.
All
So
this
they
talk
use
about all
those
the
in
time was
Las
like, we're
Vegas.
working. We
That's
are all
what
past.
they like.
Mhm.
We do not like what
They were inspired.
I
As
know.
soon as it's over, it's like,
Is that why part of the
Because
reason
of
why they also started
Yeah.
going to like the
Fucking Mark though, one
surveyor
day,
tape
he
looking
tried to
stuff
drive me, and I
too?
was like,
Yeah.
no.
Is to
You can, you have.
tag him and then if something changes,
He was
you can
like,
tag him the other
talking
color.
bad, and I was like,
So another thing you might see too is like they go in and will write on the forehead like their initial set of vitals, or a forehead or a chest or something that's visible, their initial set of vitals, so whoever comes next can be like, oh, this changed drastically.
oh, okay.
So at what point, I'm assuming you get the first, like, initial set of vitals during secondary triage? Like, when do you
Yeah,
get their vitals? Yeah.
secondary
Okay.
triage. Yeah, yours is triage.
Yeah, just bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so secondary would
with your
be like your
biscuits?
vitals. Putting your hands on the patient, are you like changing up patients? I mean, you could, probably. Unless they're like disgusting, yeah.
Well, right, but if you go touch someone else's wound with someone else's blood.
so like
If
the
I'm
only
at
one would be like
Amazon,
hazmat.
Hey,
Right, yeah.
During
That's what I care
during
about.
an MCI, you're not worried about like sterile environments.
I
You're
didn't
trying
know
to,
if that was like a thing.
no.
The only one might be like hazmat. Might be.
No.
But they might all be in the same category, contaminated, but if they're like, they went down in the warm zone, but I think that would be like the only thing in massive casualty that I would worry about gloves.
We have, what do you carry a box of gloves around?
Sometimes you can.
Fuck your face, God. Stop the diarrhea.
They should make it.
She'd probably fuck you up.
I need a new phone anyway, so I'll need to go for it.
I'll take it.
Okay, we're gonna
No, she
try
can only file
this,
because that's my doing so brown.
Pepperdy?
Strike Jeopardy. No fighting. No fighting, please. So, that's my one request.
When did we finish?
So this is
Easy killer, easy.
sorry. So this is my thought, with the daily double, whoever answers first and might get their points, or whatever. But the daily double, we'll just have you both write what you think it is on a piece of paper. And then if you wanna do it or not, we can give you the points that you bet or not. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Okay, I'm trying to make this good for everybody. all right?
Wait, say that again, so Billy can hear it?
Okay, so, whenever the daily double comes
No,
up,
no.
the first person that buzzes will get to answer and get the points. But for the daily double, you both can, what's that called? Like, that's wage your points, and then write on a piece of paper. I'll collect the pieces of paper, and then if you get it right, you win or lose points.
Sure.
Okay.
Say, okay, Billy listens to all that, he's on my team.
Yeah.
You should have heard finally, like, who, she's doing this. And I was like, no, she's not. And then the first bunch of points at me, I'm like looking over to my left, there's 7 other people with hand tools. I was like, dude. And I had been there the whole time. I think she was in the water truck shit too, but I was like flipping stuff, and like the one time she seen me on standing there, she was like, "Arr!" And I was like, "Arr!" I was like, it wasn't just standing here.
Like I talked to her and she's like, no, he was the only one looking at me. Like the other motherfuckers weren't listening.
Well, I could kind of hear, but she's like, oh no, I know that you're not deaf. I was like, I drill. Do you know wear earplugs? I have an air compressor in my ear. Like, when I try to go to sleep, all I hear is, he's like, I don't hear very good. I just heard, don't pay attention. And I was like, what? How many miles is my bike? Like 300. It's brand new. Yeah. Wait, 600. Yeah. The hours are super low too. And I don't let it sit there idle. You didn't look at this. Huh? Well, I told her if she really wanted one, I would consider it. It's perfect size for her. Have you ever rode? Have you ever rode one?
Yes. I had a road key.
Okay.
They freaking have to sell it, so somebody paid for it.
Yeah.
Fucking sausage. Dude, he poked me in my ear one day, covered my whole ear with his fucking finger. I was like, dude, did you just punch me? Like, big ass fucking. I was like, Jesus
Seems like-
Christ.
I just got fucking my ear.
Like, God, Dad, I don't want to sit behind me no more. 'Cause I swear to God, I covered like half my forehead. It was like boom, and it was like.
No, you can't.
But yeah, because I wanted to get a side by side anyways. I have a street bike on myself too. You know, I just need a gas tank.
Okay, so you're going to like, how do we do this on?
Sweet.
Cody,
Yeah, sure.
we'll have it. Gixxer 750 with the title in hand. Just a has a Yoshi pipes. And it has so it's all reset up. It has like
I have
the
a question.
I have an answer.
Why does the
It
bathroom?
has a
go
Gixxer
lock on the
1000
inside,
gauge
but
cluster
the
on it,
unlock
shit.
will lock on the outside?
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a long.
There's a double lock on it.
Yeah, if you push
So if
in
you
the
lock
lock.
it from the inside, somebody from the outside can unlock it, walk in on it. I think emergency use. We're at a hospital.
I never even knew that. I always felt safe. I was like,
Yeah, there's a GCS one.
Did we separate teams already or?
No, not yet. Okay.
oh, doom.
All right, on this side, Billy. On this side,
Billy's right
Mariana. Andy, Frank,
All right, I'm not moving.
Jake, Arlen,
I'm not moving either.
Steven.
Fuck!
Yeah.
Billy! Billy! No!
Bye, Jessica.
Damn it. He listened. Did you guys listen to his
Shia?
last question?
Marissa.
What,
The last one. You did big stuff.
Hmm.
I guess I'll go.
I was gonna pull the brown
Her
card
name's
so
missing out of
fast.
the cup of doom.
No, it was.
I think it's because
one
I'm
off.
fucking brown, dude.
I'm the only one over here.
Like, hey, one more, never mind.
Whoopsie.
No.
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 That's someone's backpack. I'll call it.
He got the second highest in his class last year. Don't get the cheat.
Okay, so this is how we're doing this. We got the buzzer, here's your game code. We're gonna try and all be friends. If there's a daily double, if there's a daily double,
Oh,
have some paper ready to write
Someone
on.
has to do the buzzer.
Write your answer, how much you wanna wager, and before I click the answer, I'm gonna grab the papers.
I mean, you can make like freaking 11 teams and just make.
Someone has to do the buzzer on their phone, right?
Yes, yeah, or all of you can do it, and I can put you into teams, so what do you want your?
Just sit there, no.
Just hit the table.
Just like buzz, buzz.
We got a buzzer?
You-
The buzzer.
You have to do it on there. You have to go to that buzz.
Oh, we don't have the buzzer anymore?
What do you guys want your team to do?
Yeah, team not getting Billy.
Hey, I'll hit the buzzer.
Okay, that works. What do you guys want your team name to be?
Ours?
Team Hump.
That's fine.
That works.
Okay, whatever works best. Team is this.
Chaz's Lane.
Not Dr. Billy or Hump?
What's the
That's
first
us.
show?
Huh. We'll do Team Hunt.
Got it?
Hello, hi me.
There, that's a nice team.
You guys can all like create a buzz. So if you guys all wanna like buzz, you can, and I can just assign your team. So we know whose team was first.
Not
Or you
Dr.
can just
Billy.
have one person. Blank. I'm guessing that is Hump.
Yeah. Or blank, that's fine.
What did you put in there?
I didn't put anything.
Oh,
I didn't.
okay.
That's how it.
What are you doing? I have a.
Fat man down.
Oh, I just did the same thing.
You were laughing at him, you did the same.
I didn't hear this part.
Sure, you want me to do it alone?
Yeah. Look at that dude, come on.
Who's I Love Billy?
No, no, it's not Dr. Billy. No.
Take that person out.
We only have one.
It says you're disconnected blank.
Yeah, because they changed the thing. I love Billy. Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh,
they love Billy now?
He's going to buzz us.
Clear buzzers.
The last one.
I gotta undo my,
Yeah.
hold on, I
No,
gotta do
it-
my
Just, but I just.
screen timer.
Oh, blank's disconnected again.
She's gotta take her,
Time
screen timer off, cause when it goes dark, it.
Oh, wait, I don't know how to do that.
Or is that your phone? Okay.
I was like, John, so you got.
No, I.
Okay,
How do they do that? But in general.
Well, if you're
I can
active.
go.
Setting your display
Okay, so team two's gonna be over here just because you're on this side of the screen, and then team one's gonna be over there just because you're on that side of the screen. Okay, we got our names. Are you still disconnected? You want me
Yeah,
to
she's still.
have it as backup?
Okay, we're ready. Okay, we're ready.
Who goes first?
I'm just gonna pick one, whoever gets the answer first.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna start out with shock. Shock is like, shows you vitals, you gotta guess the type of shock.
Oh.
Okay. All right, here we go. Everybody can see the screen?
Yes.
Very well.
Ooh.
Okay, not Dr. Billy, buzz first.
This would be septic shock.
Septic shock. Would you guys agree, or would you have a different answer? Okay,
Are we able to give another answer?
if you think it's a different answer. Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What happens if we have the wrong answer?
Then you lose points.
If it's.
Well, yeah, no points.
It is septic shock. Or
Yeah.
distributed shock,
Yeah.
they both would have been correct answers. Okay. All right, clear buzzers, not Dr. Billy, what would you like?
Let's do resuscitation for 300.
Resuscitation for 300.
Did the buzzer go through?
Not Dr. Billy buzz first. Yes. Okay, would you guys have the same answer? Okay. BTAC, BFib. Very good, very good. Clear buzzers. Okay, not Dr. Billy again.
Resuscitation for 4.
Resuscitation for 400. Not Dr. Billy? Okay, 60. Is your guys' buzzer not working?
Every time we get it.
Okay.
Oh, do we need a piece of
If you,
paper?
yeah, so for the daily double on a piece of paper, I guess you guys have 0 points to wager, unfortunately. If you guys want to both try, you could.
Is this a daily double?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
can still waive
so-
your points.
So this part is what they said, so if the answer is really
Oh.
60, they'll get their points. But then both of you can try the daily double and wager whatever points you may have.
We can't get any.
No, you can't. You can still waive your points, can't you?
They have
And it
0
just goes
points.
down.
Oh, can you, don't you go in the negative?
Yeah, you just go in the negative. if
Or do you
waive
have to
your
have
points.
points to wager?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you can still waive your points, it's just if you get it wrong, it goes in the negative.
But how do they know how many wagers? Because they can only wager 400 because they have 400 points. I don't watch it on Jeopardy. Okay,
Let me look it up. Can you?
how about,
It's failure.
like, if you don't have points, you could get 100 points. Does that sound fair? Like, if we did, if you don't have any points to wager, if you could get yourself on the board with 100 points, want to try that? Does that sound fair to everybody?
What did you say?
Sorry. Okay, so if you don't have any points to wager, you could still get 100 points if you get it right. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys can wager 100 points.
So it
Bigger
says,
dollar.
you can wager points on the daily double in Jeopardy, even if you have $0 or a negative score. In these scenarios, you're allowed to wager up to the maximum amount allowed in, say, 1,000 in the first round.
So for this, it'd be 400. So for this one, it'd be 400.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys can wager up to 400.
I'm pretty sure.
I just read that one.
They send you a whole paper, we give you a piece.
I wrote it in the middle, so I was like, oh shit.
Okay.
We didn't have to do the
Okay.
first part, right? We're just doing the daily double.
Correct, yeah, just the daily double. And you guys can wager up to 400. Oh. So if you wanted to do 400, you could.
No.
No.
I want a chance to come back.
Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna give you these.
Look at his facial expressions.
Probably just cut it.
Look at his facial expressions.
Okay, all right, here we go. 60, they say 60, and it is hypoxia.
Good job.
So team 2 gets the points. Oh,
So,
okay, and then team 1,
so team 2 gets.
another, how many did they
another
wager?
200.
Okay, shit. Another 200.
About
How do I just give 200 points?
Just write them on the board and add them.
So instead of
And
that.
then they get 100.
I thought if you just do plus. Oh.
And then 100.
Yeah.
Okay, very well, good.
For sure.
Okay, so not Dr. Billy.
Resuscitation.
I thought we were about to go negative. I was like, fuck.
Resuscitation for 5. Name 2 signs that are associated with obvious death. Oh, go ahead, huh?
Rig and modeling, right? The pull, like where they're pulling in the bottom, like the bruising or whatever it's called.
Okay, so rig.
And the bruising.
What
pulling.
is rig? Can you describe?
Deadening of like the.
Rigor mortis.
Okay,
Rigor
rigor
mortis.
mortis and the pooling.
The bruising and stuff on the
Okay,
bottom, like where the
okay.
blood settles, right?
Okay. Right? I don't know yet.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Hey, would you guys have any other answers besides those 2? No. Okay.
Decapitation.
Okay, rigor mortis is correct. You described dependent lividity, so I'm gonna give it to you, because that's what it is. It's cooling. Okay. Yep, incineration, so if they are completely burned up, that is obvious death. You only need to do 2, so you're getting the points. Submersion in water for greater than 6 hours is considered obvious death, and then injuries incompatible with life, that includes decapitation. Brain matter is usually included in that, but no, that's not always the case.
That is not always the case. Don't listen to them.
Okay, huh, what would you guys like to do?
Something.
Medical for 200.
Medical for 200. Huh? Huh? Okay, do you guys have another answer? Okay. Good job.
Someone's getting closer.
Good.
My
Have
bad.
you ever had gallbladder pain? Is that why you do it? Oh, okay.
No, I just remember talking about it.
Yeah, so that's called referred pain, right? So anything that's really up on your diaphragm can refer to your shoulder, left or right. Gallbladder is just specific to the right shoulder. If you have somebody in a car accident that has a liver laceration and there's blood pooling between the diaphragm and their organs, and their only complaint is shoulder pain, sometimes that's the only complaint that you will see. So you need to keep a very high index of suspicion if you have a patient that's only complaining of shoulder pain after a car accident where they could have had any kind of bleeding.
Is it both for them or just one?
One or the other. Usually, like liver is like left shoulder, I think. Gallbladder is right shoulder, but they don't always follow the rules. So if you have someone that's like no like injury pattern to their shoulder, but they're like, my shoulder hurts, you need to be thinking Does that make sense? Did I give you your points?
Yeah.
Looks like I did.
Yeah.
You did.
Okay. Huh? Again. What?
Okay.
I emailed it
Is
to
there trauma for three?
the Lander County EMS.
Trauma for 3, please.
Trauma for 300.
Huh? That's good.
Oh, so my blood.
Dr. Billy?
Yeah, so, it's gonna be high blood pressure. rate, change the-
Okay. You guys have another answer?
Oh, we were,
No?
everything is the other.
Thanks.
Good. Hypertension, so or widening pulse pressure is looking fine. Bradycardia, and then irregular expressions or Shane-Stokes. Good. What does this mean?
Neurogenic.
Good. Specifically, what's going on in their head, though?
Too much, like,
Brain
blood
pressure?
pressure.
Yep, there's too much pressure in their brain. It's increased ICP. So what's happening is that brain is literally swelling. It's putting, what's the one hole it has to go out? 'Cause it's in the
Foramen
brain.
magnum.
Good, the foramen magnum. So what sits right by our foramen magnum?
Spinal cord.
Good, but there's something else.
Brainstem.
Brainstem, good. So brainstem controls all of your basic, like, hoo-hoo, right? So breathing, blood pressure, heart rate, all in your pawns. I gave you guys your points. Okay, not Dr. Billy.
Yeah, medications for 400.
Ooh. Oh.
You already did it.
Right patient, right time,
Right route, right,
Yeah, you got hers.
oh, okay.
So-
Patient, right time, right route, right
medication.
medication.
You already said medication.
We did
That's
right
first
patient, right time, right route, right medication. We said that.
Right time, right?
Did we say time
Set
already?
time.
You already said time. You said medication, time,
Right amount?
route.
The dose, right dose?
Okay. You guys have another answer? Okay. Yep, patient, time, dose, route, and medication. So you wanna make sure you're giving the right meds in your scenarios whenever we
There we go.
are testing you at the end.
Right.
Make sure you're running through these rights whenever you're
I know you
giving
guys
any
have,
kind of
so I did
medication,
it.
okay? Even if before you're like, hey, you have any allergies? And they're like, no. Whenever you're like giving the aspirin physically or nitro or whatever, you're gonna say, are you allergic to aspirin? You need to ask them again, because a lot of people are gonna be like, I'm not allergic to anything.
Can you explain the time one
Hey.
for me really quick?
That
Yeah.
was our point.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. It
Um,
looked like you were clicking there. Damn it.
No, I appreciate it. You gotta keep me on my toes. So the right time is a big hospital thing. They like to teach it for EMT, but just make sure you're giving it at the right time. So the big thing that you guys need to be concerned about is nitro can be given like every 3 to 5 minutes. So you want to know you're giving that next dose in the right time, right? Same thing with like albuterol. You want to know that you're giving it appropriately spaced out. You're not doing like one right after another. You want to give that first dose of time to work. Does that make sense? Very well. Give you your points.
And that's 3 to 5 minutes, even if it's sublingual, like, does
Yes.
that give it enough time to actually like reflect
Yeah.
on their vitals?
Yeah, you'll usually say it within the first like 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Sometimes it could take a little bit longer because it's being absorbed and not swallowed. That's the big thing with nitro. If it's swallowed, the liver has to metabolize it. If it's just being absorbed in the mucous membrane, your liver doesn't have to metabolize it. It goes right into your bloodstream, so it's pretty quick. Okay, for whatever y'all want.
Medical for 3.
Okay. We're going way back.
This is your.
I said,
Yeah, it's fine.
Respiratory failure, they're not breathing at all, right?
Okay,
Is that
do you guys have a different answer?
Yeah.
Oh.
5, 4, 3,
Isn't it? I'm just gonna say AMS.
1. Okay, we're gonna say also mental status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, because respiratory arrest is not breathing, right? Like, when they're completely-
Yeah, respiratory arrest is like they're done breathing. The distress and failure, as soon as they become altered, as they can't follow commands anymore, that's the
That's
defining.
just like, that's not the defining.
Okay. Not Dr. Billy.
Let's do trauma for 4.
Okay.
Trauma, time, to death.
Just 2 components.
Good job, Andy.
Huh?
Oh, wait, why did it, they were first and then it switched us. Why did it do that?
No, it just bumped y'all up because theirs was, it just recategorized y'all into buzz players.
Yeah.
Good.
You only have to need 2?
Coagulation.
So you only have to name 2. If you want the daily double, you write down 4 of them.
Do we want us to make?
Can we name 2 and then go for the daily double?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
you
you
only
only need to
need
know
2 to
2
get
more.
it right and the daily double to wage it, right?
Yes.
Coagulation. We gotta get our paper back.
Oh, sorry.
Right?
All right, so what's y'all's first answer?
Coagulation temperature.
Coagulation and temperature.
Not right. It's because Cookie slept like this last night. not like this.
Yeah.
Let them know if that-
That was good. That was good. Good throw though.
So this thing, CJ got, we can record or show on the screen.
Have it done.
Hey, what's the max of computer?
However many points you have. Thank you.
No, it's 1,000.
Oh, a max of 1,000?
Yeah, I think those are the 1,000.
No, the first round's 1,000, the second round's 2,000 according to the.
Oh, but there's more than 2 rounds of daily doubles in here. Oh,
No, like the rounds in the actual game. Yeah, so like going through all of these is one round, and then you would do another round of.
oh, I got you. Okay, okay. I don't watch this. Clearly, I don't either.
Whatever you guys think.
This entire
Ours
board
is
is
right
one
there, by the
round.
way.
Huh?
Ours is right there. Nope, come here.
Oh. I'm like, you wrote it on the board? Okay.
Alright, y'all ready?
Oh.
Yeah, we're not gonna do the daily double.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna be like, well, now that. Okay, so
Write on here what you mean right now.
and
And I'm gonna
then once
ask
y'all
you-
are done, then we're gonna ask you the same question.
Because temperature is kind of a broad term, right? So I just want to know, make sure you guys are, what do you mean by temperature?
Once we get their paper back, y'all can answer.
We'll make sure that.
We'll give you both a fighting chance here.
Alright, go ahead.
Okay.
What
What
do you
kind of
mean by temperature?
To make sure that they're not hypothermic, like their body temperature is a sustainable thing to support life, right?
So they're making sure they're not what?
They're not hypothermic.
Hyper?
Hypo.
Hypo, sorry. Hypo.
Okay, that's all I was looking for.
Keep it in mind. It should be good.
Good, okay, so y'all wrote keep a patient warm, so yeah, so hypothermia, you're keeping them warm, hypothermia, acidosis, coagulopathy, and then low calcium levels, so. You guys bet 1,000.
How
You
would
guys,
they answer what they meant by that?
so we had them right so they could clarify, but then didn't want you guys to answer out loud, so they could be like, oh yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, I
They already had it, so. I just wanted to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Okay, so I need to add 1,000 to team 2, right?
I'm gonna be, yeah, look at our paper.
We-
Pretty
yeah,
sure
yeah,
we
you
wrote
said
hyper-
we're gonna-
Yeah, I think we
Well,
wrote
let me
hyper
look.
calcemia,
Yeah.
not hypo.
Oh, I did write hyper.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I
did. Okay, so lost
Yeah.
1,000 points?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified.
That's so
Thanks
bad.
for being honest.
That's so good.
I appreciate it.
Nerds.
Chad's like, I wanted.
Okay, so, you guys get a pick again.
Shot for a three.
Okay?
What's SOB? 'Cause I'm thinking
Shortness of breath.
Oh.
Son of a bitch.
I'm thinking of son of a bitch.
So is he low? Oh, no, shut up.
Yeah.
Come on, Dr. Billy. Distributive. Okay, would you guys say something different?
What do you
What are you gonna say?
What else? Yeah.
I would say obstructive.
Okay, distributive, obstructive. Cardiogenic. So, what tells
Is that
you
what you
this
said
is
before?
cardiogenic?
The lightheadedness, what blood.
The pedal edema,
Fetal edema. Okay, that tells you what's going on.
right side heart failure.
Okay, good. Lower blood pressure, she's telling you she's in shock. There's another big one here.
Crackle.
The crackles.
The crackles.
So what is crackles?
It's.
Where? Yeah, where?
So is that like with congestive heart failure?
Yep, so
Oh,
congestive
okay.
heart failure. So like you said with the pedal edema, that is right-sided heart failure because that's where that blood is before the right side. And then the left-sided heart failure is the buildup in the lungs. So she has both because she has crackles and pedal edema. Another thing is anytime you have fluid in your lungs, you're gonna have difficulty breathing laying down. That's why your CHF patients, they have something called orthopnea, or sometimes they'll call it like nighttime orthopnea or nocturnal orthopnea, because at night they won't sleep flat. And so it's always important to ask someone with suspected CHF, like at night, how many pillows do you put behind your head while you sleep? Or do you have to sleep sitting up in a recliner, that kind of stuff, because that could be all cardiogenic CHF. Okay, so you guys both lose points?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are so honest, because I suck. Okay, so now it's my turn to pick. Huh?
Aspirin.
Aspirin.
Aspirin. Do you guys have another answer? It is oxygen. What? What's gonna kill him first?
I know, right?
What is gonna kill him first?
Airway.
Got airway, ABC. Good. Okay, I get to go again.
She picks the easiest one, we get it wrong.
Yes.
Go for it. Shock.
Beck's triad. Okay. What kind of shock?
Is it Beck's try? Is it cardiogenic shock?
Okay. You guys want to try for the daily double?
We just did that. We just
No, we didn't. We did the Cushing's triad.
Cushing's.
Or the other triad.
You did the neurogenic shock triad.
Yeah, we've done Cushing's and the trauma.
Okay, so you said, what kind of shock did you say?
Cardiogenic.
Cardiogenic, okay. Do you guys agree with that? Okay, and then do you want to try for the daily double?
Or no,
Okay, no try for the daily double.
What?
They don't want to try for the daily double. Would you guys like to try for the daily double?
This one that we just did, is it Beck's?
Nope, that's the trauma triad of death,
Uh,
or the trauma dying.
no.
Okay,
Nope.
all right.
Yeah, we're
Unless
good.
you guys want
So-
No. We'll take our points and go.
to. Well, we don't even know if we got it right.
Okay, It is a cardiac tamponade. By definition, it is an obstructive shock. So,
So
my
Beck's
whole
triad is
heart-
only cardiac tamponade.
And the narrow
Yes.
blood pressure.
Yeah, narrow blood pressure, yeah, so. Write it on the board here. So what is a cardiac tamponade first of all?
Blood in the sac around the heart.
Good. So, here's the thing, I just learned this the other day, why it took me freaking 12 years of doing this to learn this is beyond me. So, this is how I correlate it in my head. Whenever you have a lung that's collapsed, that's a lung.
Hey!
Hey! There you go, that's better. Okay, so if you have a lung that's collapsed and they're not showing signs of shock, what is it? What?
I'm sorry?
When you have a lung that is collapsing, but they're not in severe signs of
Obstructive?
shock.
Compensate.
So what is it?
Compensate.
It's
It's a pneumo.
pneumo, a tension pneumo. Is it tension or not? Just a pneumo.
It's just a pneumo, okay? Whenever they show signs of shock, okay, that is now, they have no lung on that side, their little heart's sad because it's being squished and their other lung's good. Okay, now it is a tension. Okay, and you're like, how does this relate to a cardiac tamponade? This is how it relates. So you have a heart, okay, and it has a sac around it. When it starts to fill up with fluid, this is called an effusion. So if you ever hear pericardial effusion, that means that they're not in shock yet, okay? Once they hit that shock, it fills all the way up, too much, and now they're in shock. This is called a tamponade. Okay, so think of the physiology behind it. You have great vessels that come out of your heart, right? You have your aorta, all of that splits off, right? So whenever that heart can't push blood anymore, it has too much pressure on it, these veins right here are directly connected to your heart. They're gonna poof up, okay? Because it's in this sac of fluid, whenever you go to hear heart tones, they're gonna be muffled, okay? And then the decreased pulse pressure. So that heart is being so squished, it can barely fill and barely squeeze. So your systolic, the squeeze, and your diastolic, your relax, is gonna be really close together because it can't do more than this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Did I do the points already? Okay. So that's Beck's triad. What can cause that? A flail chest. If they get hit in the chest, it can cause it. Also, something like not trauma related that can cause it is like something like, what's the disease?
Diverticulitis.
It's not Lyme disease. Oh,
Lou Gehrig's?
not quite. Why can't I think of it? It is like an autoimmune, celiacs. They can be at a really high disposition for getting fluid around their heart because it's an infection. So infection or blood can cause fluid to build up around your heart. Okay, do I get to choose again?
Yes.
Yes. Not Dr. Bill.
Compensation.
Okay, would you guys agree?
It's compensated shock.
Compensated shock, good. Good. Do we trust blood pressures in kids? No. Okay. Dr. Billy? Not Dr. Billy?
Medications.
You wanna reset the voters first, please?
Yeah, thanks. Okay,
Medications
medications
for
for 3. Okay. Not Dr. Billy.
0.4 milligram tablet supplement.
Okay. Do you guys have a different answer? No? Okay. 0.4. Good. What is this given for?
Chest
Chest pain in relation to what?
MI.
Again, acute coronary syndrome or MI, suspected heart attack in any nature, nitroglycerin. How many doses can you give?
3. 3, and then call the doctor, and they might tell you no.
Lovely. Good. Okay, not Dr. Billy.
Let's do shock for 400.
Shock for 400.
our team name.
Capillaries, okay, do you guys have another answer? Okay. It is the capillaries. So remember, they're only about 1 cell wide, but that's what all of that perfusion. Okay, not Dr. Bill.
Medications for 200.
Okay. Not Dr. Billy?
By mouth.
Okay, do you guys have a different answer?
What did they say?
By mouth.
Oh.
No further treatment, you know,
We could do the Davy.
You got it. I did my part. Back off.
Mr. Teo.
That's by mouth.
I didn't spell it right. My spelling is
Asperges.
It looks right. Okay. It didn't look right to me.
That's still by mouth.
I'm gonna ask a question after this is revealed.
Okay, I'll answer it.
Yeah.
After this.
So you want to.
Don't shit at the wall ceiling.
That's how I learned how to cook macaroni.
It just sticks to the cover.
There you go.
Probably wasn't. I just
We What if I tell you how to
Ranch
make
in
this
your
one?
ramen noodles
The what?
too.
Just one of
We'll
them.
go with the top one.
The top one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
you're Disgusting. You put
All right,
the
so,
whole ranch.
BO, they said by mouth, you guys agree, Bailey double. Aspirin is the one. So activated charcoal, I would have also taken. Glucose is the one that doesn't, because what is glucose giving us?
It's in the gums.
Is it?
Yeah.
You don't, you
Glucose
don't,
is
so.
It's given
when
buccal.
Yeah.
said.
You do it in the gums because you don't want them to swallow it, because again, just like with nitro, you want it to absorb in.
We should just quick. So would glucose be more sublingual than anything?
No,
It's
you do it in the
buccal.
gums.
Oh,
Buccal, so against the cheek.
So what I wanted to ask is oxygen technically PO?
How much
Okay,
should we,
all the other answers are big. It helps.
Okay.
how much should we?
Same
You have
thing
to
with
get
like
them
all of our points.
Albuterol,
Okay.
in the mouth, but.
Okay, guys.
So PO is what they
Oh,
can
that's
actually
okay.
like swallow.
We're
Yep,
having fun.
take by mouth. Okay.
I'm gonna have to win.
Okay, so how am I gonna?
Ranch.
So we get our points and then
I
we
wouldn't
get
do that now.
another 1,200.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
So 2,600.
I remember partying at Tova's house, putting her shit, little chickens in her microwave. Me and Aaron.
Remember Brandon do after the Kool-Aid?
All right,
Mhm.
not Dr. Billy.
Just do resuscitation for 100.
Okay, resuscitation for 100. Not Dr. Billy.
Or at least you can.
Okay. You guys agree?
Yeah.
I think you need to sit closer to your phone.
Yeah.
Early CPR.
Third time's a charm.
It's not working.
Good. I can give all the drugs in the world, but that early CPR, if it's not started, it does not matter. Okay,
Resuscitation.
okay. Not Dr. Billy?
Didn't hit it, you hit like right
Okay,
above it.
they say start CPR. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, but then you could also check the vitals one more time to make sure.
What do you check for pulse?
Okay, check for pulse, is that your
Mhm.
final answer? And start CPR. Check for pulse.
I was like, you check for pulse?
Good.
But you got some points back.
Okay, huh? Are you guys scared of these 500s or something?
Let's do it.
Well, last time we went
Trauma
for
for
500
five.
first and then we lost
Trauma
all
for
our
500.
Trauma for five.
Let's do it. Draw for 5. Not Dr. Billy? Okay, do you guys agree or you think?
I didn't hear what you said.
He said coup contra coup.
Wait, that's this way, right? Or maybe it's down?
Contract.
Okay,
Because.
they say coup contra coup.
Back, that's
Do you have another answer?
We just went over that.
Say what
Are
it
we-
is.
I mean, we're
According
both-
to-
Just say
You
anything.
said what?
I don't fucking know, dude.
I don't know.
Come back strong!
It's called herniation.
I was like, I think we should answer where to go because we're
You
trying to
have
get
your brain.
brains.
You have your little tiny hole.
That's what I was saying, it's
Brain
like it's
starts
more
to get mashed.
pushing down, it's coup contra coup, front to back.
Yeah,
It's like.
I knew that wasn't the
Oh,
answer,
you
but I
almost
didn't
didn't
know
know.
what the answer was.
So when it starts to get swollen, it
No, that's what
herniates.
I don't know all about this. That was the only thing I thought about.
Chances
So
don't take them
contra
after the one.
coup is
Like
like
that.
Forward, back.
Yep, you hit, it hits the front and hits the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then cerebral edema, it can be caused by cerebral edema. But
So we did the point.
We should have.
Sorry.
Oh, -3, Jesus
That's why we don't answer it.
No!
Okay, I get it choose. Okay, I'm getting rid of this 100. Ooh. Huh? Strider? Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. You finally hit it.
Yay, we get -200.
Okay, you guys get
How
to
about
choose.
shot for 500?
Shock for 5.
Okay,
Five.
it's going.
Oh. I don't wanna lose those 500 points, what the heck, we don't
Well,
have.
we're already -200, fuck it.
I think it's.
Okay,
Hypoperfusion.
okay, would you guys agree?
What, I'm sorry, what that said?
Hypoperfusion.
I was gonna say trauma.
Yeah.
Yay.
You're back on the board.
Yay. Oh, we've been on the boards.
Well, yeah, 500.
Correct. Okay, you guys do again.
Medication, 500.
Medications for 500. What class is albuterol?
Steven, come over here and help us.
What class?
Not Dr. Billy?
What is it called whenever it's not a non-selective alpha beta agonist? Right? It already says it. Yeah,
Oh.
so like unselective alpha beta agonist.
Would you guys agree? I got it.
Isn't it just a beta
It's just a beta.
Beta what?
agonist?
Okay.
Because it hits your beta receptors.
Okay, which ones?
I'm thinking right now, yeah, that's on my foot.
Hey, we didn't have a bus. Oh, they go there.
Okay.
Never mind, I know the error of my ways.
Are you waiting for a different answer?
The beta 2
Oh, I
It is
forgot the
beta
number, dang it.
So when you say beta agonist, there's two types of beta receptors.
Beta 1's heart, beta 2's lung.
Very good. You have one heart, you have two lungs.
Yes,
said
I
it,
couldn't
you just
think,
said
I
it
was like,
here
I know.
Because he whispered it.
Andy, you gotta scream from deaf.
Use your big boy voice.
So going off of your
Next
initial
time I
answer,
get the right step.
what is, you guys can give a medication that is a non-selective alpha and beta. What is it? What brings everything up? It's like,
Oh, glucose.
Epinephrine.
Oh,
Yep, so epi is non-selective, it works on beta 1, beta 2, alpha 1, B as well.
like everybody
So it works on everything and it's non-selective. Okay, I feel like, sorry, y'all.
Dr.
We live in the number.
Yeah, she said big agonist, but not.
That was close enough.
Please don't hate me. Okay.
Nah.
You are doing just fine.
Thanks.
We both got it wrong, so you.
You choose.
I choose.
Yeah.
Okay. Not Dr. Billy.
Oh, okay, it's already checked. Yes, so administer oral glucose,
Okay. Would you guys agree?
but she can follow simple commands. And
Why-
they've already checked her PGO. That's what I was gonna say, but then I read the whole.
PGO's all in.
Would you guys agree? Administer oral glucose?
I don't know. The respiratory?
No,
Or
glucose.
glucose is low.
That's the only thing that's kind of.
53 is low,
Yeah.
which can present.
Good.
As stroke.
Very good. Your biggest mimicker of a stroke is hypoglycemia. This lady has it. What if I told you I ran this call, called a stroke alert, and then checked the blood sugar? This was a call I actually had, and I was a ding ding.
She's on it. Stroke.
Yeah, like it's a stroke. Okay, not Dr. Billy,
Trauma first, yeah.
okay? Apparently I can't spell either. Not Dr. Billy,
Contracute, right?
okay? Just
Because
concentrate.
on the, it's just talking about the bruise on the back of his brain. It's not talking about the full injury, right?
Okay, would you guys agree?
It's just a bruise. Yeah, but it's saying the bruise on the back of his brain is called. That is the question.
Do you need the specific type or just the general? This would be a hematoma, right?
So it's a bruise.
Cerebral hematoma?
It's already, we already know it's a hematoma, or a bruise. It's not a hematoma, it's just a bruise on the back of his brain.
Okay, we don't know.
It is contra coup, good. So coup, he was hit on the front of his head. His brain went boing, boing.
Let's
The
hope that
bruise on the
what
front
is-
would be your coup, and the bruise on the back, because he was hit in the front, would be contra coup. So good.
So if he was hit on the back and he had a bruise on the front would be contra coup.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so coup's where that initial impact happens, contra coup is the opposite side.
Okay.
So that's really action. Yeah, this is the points that Joe sacrificed his body and Carly's body for last. Not Dr. Billy?
My fault.
Okay, very,
There's a lot of options on
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
it really surprised me with that one.
Hemorrhaging internally.
Okay,
It's the two breasts.
okay. Would you guys agree?
Sure. We'll say
Yes.
yes.
Yay,
Huh?
You guys did so good.
Okay, any questions about that stuff? Was that better?
Yes.
About the fact that it just went down to zero.
I know, everything.
Came right back.
No, it's fine. It's
Very much.
It wasn't even fun.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what team I'm on.
All right, good. So I have a couple of those. I'll make some more.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
study stuff, just because our next few chapters are so short, I wanna do study, like group study, covering everything. Because it's about the time that you forget everything that was at the beginning of the book.
Yep.
So, do you guys have any questions, concerns, comments?
No, that's why I'm scared to wait a month to take our test whenever we can take it at the beginning of this next month. Because it's like everything's a fucking fall
Yeah,
off.
so statistically, you're better off to, the sooner you can take your national registry after class, the better. So, a month isn't horrible if you make sure you guys are on it with the studying, the medic test, or EMT prep, or whatever you guys chose to do. Just make sure you're on it. Work on your test fatigue, please.
Are we still coming in for class after, before the test?
Yes.
I think
Yes,
that's
like all the way up.
yeah, I think that's the
Yeah,
second
chest
one.
cycle.
Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays for sure. I would like to do like a mass casualty thing. It's in the works of planning. I was planning on doing it this weekend and then everybody's gone, so it would not be feasible. So we'll work on that. If there are any things that you specifically need to work on, please let me know. I know we talked about GCS, we talked about it a little bit, work on it. If there's anything else, please let me know. We'll try and work it into some extra study stuff. And then,
Just going through the skills.
okay, so
Yeah, both medical and trauma, and then,
okay,
just in general, just the skills again.
good. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you guys are like really honing in your skills on those skill sheets, but it just needs repetition and practice. Yeah, because by the time you take your final, like, it's not gonna be like, I'm gonna walk you through what you did wrong. It's gonna be, okay, are you done? And then you're like, shit, am I done? And then you leave, and then you'll find out later whether you passed or failed. So you guys need to be on it. So, always available, just text us. We're here 90% of this month. So, we will come in even if we're not at work and run through skills if you have time. If you guys wanna come in and do study groups, run through skills during your study groups, you're more than welcome to. Just let us know so we can figure out if this room's taken or not. If it is taken, we'll figure out another place.
Did we figure out, how?
Yes, kind of. His pulses still don't work, but you can run a scenario on him. It's just not like, I wish he could feel his pulses. His lungs still all sound like shit, but we can still run scenarios on him. So, yeah. I'm trying to get in good graces with the hospital because they have another HAL over there that's a little bit more techy. So I'm trying to be like, hey, you use that, but we'll see.
We can go over there and do it too.
I know, I need to find their computer and stuff that theirs hooks up to, because ours hooks up to like a specific computer, so. If I can figure that out, we'll try and get that. So. Good, very well. Thanks for hanging out today.
Thank you.
You guys be cool.
See you Saturday.
Hey,